Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Yeah. Welcome to Massenomics, the world's strongest podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Massenomics. Make sure you go visit Massenomics.com. There you'll find the rest of our powerful content. While you're there, check out our store and buy yourself some of that sweet Massenomics gear. All right, so welcome to this week's episode of the Massenomics podcast. Our mascot dog, Fletch, is in here just doing gross stuff and making gross noises. That's right, mascot. It actually works pretty well that our mascot is an enormous dog who's just apparently going to sit in.
Jeez, that looks difficult.
Yeah. He's
pretty tough there.
His hip mobility is kind of on par with Tanner's at this point.
Well, I mean, he is what, 2 now?
He's 3.
3, okay, yeah.
Which in Great Dane years is like 65, I think. They told us that I think he would live to be like, they're thinking like between 7 and 9 years would be like a good lifespan.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he's like a 155-pound dog, which is like being a 500-pound person.
Elephants are really big and they live a long time.
That's true. But I think we're talking relative to other elephants, though. Like, so there's an elephant that was like 10 times the size of some elephants. That dude ain't living very long.
Yeah.
Speaking of dudes who aren't living very long, Tanner.
You have cancer, right?
Tanner,
This podcast has been a year. All this
I
is
have cancer.
You've just been building up for a year to say you have cancer and you're gay.
It's not cancer. It's AIDS. Cancerous AIDS.
Oh, this is the season finale.
So we
butt AIDS.
we got confirmation this week, pretty solid confirmation this week, that we will be throwing the Massenomics Strongman Showdown again this year.
Version 2.0.
Version 2.0, which is going to be pretty much the best thing that's ever happened.
Better,
Huger,
improved,
Larger,
faster,
more
stronger,
stronger,
sexier.
We should talk about kind of our philosophy of how we put together a strongman
Yes,
competition.
that
versus
actually-
how other people might.
That actually is a really good idea. So this competition, when we decide to do this again, all the things that we're changing on this, what is the purpose of every single change that we're making, Tanner?
Make it more enjoyable for the spectators.
Yeah.
Everything we're doing is.
It needs to be more exciting to watch.
We want it to be a spectacle.
It needs to get over faster because we've had a couple competitions that take between 4 and 9 hours.
We've even watched big time competitions take place over 3 days, multiple hours.
One event can take like
At the
hours,
Arnold, 2 events taking 2 or 2.5 hours is not unreasonable. With 40 minutes of teardown time and setup time between events too, which is basically inexcusable in my opinion.
Especially if you're me standing there on the concrete for like 5 hours, if you have nothing to watch, start thinking about how your back is tight.
Yeah. And why in the world they gave Mark Henry a microphone.
I can even tell you, being in the front row watching it, a lot of times you think like, see all those guys standing there doing nothing? Maybe they should do something, because like it's not helping the pace of things right now.
So one of the things that we make sure we prioritize is that it be a show, and I think I would rather have it be a better show, because I think a good show is good for the sport of strongman in general, but you just want eyes on it. Like, the sport of strongman should not only exist for people who compete in the sport of strongman, because that's not good for the sport. There's no money in it then. But for the average person, they should be able to enjoy it. In a 7 or 8 hour event, you're not going to get any casual eyes on it.
None.
Yeah.
I mean, even the athletes' parents are not going to sit through 8 hours of a competition for that.
No, it's very
No,
tough.
I'm quite sure that the last one that I
All
did,
of our parents
my
left.
parents left.
Yes.
And I said, yeah, I would not sit here.
Yeah.
Like you watched for a while, and
thanks for that.
Yeah.
And then you watch nothing happen
and then
for
like
a lot of time.
I'm gonna feel bad if you stay here any longer. Like
Yeah.
then it's like on me that I'm doing this thing and forcing you to sit there for 10 hours, you know.
And we've kind of discussed this before. Like I almost like to think of it as like a scale. And on the scale, there's a pure strength test on one end, which is a powerlifting meet to me.
Yep.
And then on the other end, pure entertainment. I like to think of a WWE pay-per-view match.
Right.
And in that scale, you can fall anywhere in between. I think we like to tilt it more towards the WWE. Hopefully, some jacked guys, strong events, strong cool things
events.
happening,
Yeah.
while also being entertaining, music, some other events happening, and crowd friendly too. So that's kind of the way we tilt it and we go with it. And I think that's a pretty good kind of compass for us for making decisions.
Yeah, because I mean the events are cool enough, and like the scene from a freak show status, like from a freak show standpoint alone, is pretty cool. And like if you can get on board with what we're like, anybody's like cool with watching that, especially where we do it at like a county fair, where like you can go next door and watch some sheep do sheep things, or you can
Chili cook-off.
Yeah, or you can like, but nobody walks past somebody lifting a 300-pound Atlas stone and is just like, oh, well, I don't know. I'm going to go get a corn dog. Like
Everyone's
you're
like,
at least going to give it a moment,
Right.
So, Tanner, we were talking, none of this is probably set in stone just yet, but we are going to change up the events a little bit.
And I would say all the events and everything we did last year went well, but we just want to make it even better than it was last year.
A
it
little
went
more
quick last
entertaining
year.
and a little faster.
Yeah.
And I would say our last priority is really the athlete's ability to warm up, or to, you know what I mean? Like be warm, but like you're not going to get 40 minutes to take turns practicing with an implement.
And once we get going, you don't get to get cold because
it goes.
Yeah. It goes very quick.
I think I had enough time last year to get done with one event, kind of catch my breath, get recovered, change my shoes, get something to drink, maybe cheer for a guy or so. But next thing you know, you're like five dudes out, and you got to like start kind of getting your head together, and getting loose.
But once you warm up for the first event, and then you're in it. Then I mean, you just like. Once you've done one event to like max effort, you're pretty much warmed up to almost no matter what the event is.
Yeah, and it's not like when you're doing a car deadlift, like everybody's gonna have a chance to like just grab a straight bar and be like, okay, well I did 225 and 315, I did a few at 405. It's just that's not the way it works.
Right.
But you just should be smoked from something else that happened.
Yeah, on ours, I think of ours as an exhibition more than a competition.
Yep, that's a good word for it.
Or
maybe like a showdown.
A showdown. I'm wearing
The showdown.
Yeah, this is 2016. Event wise, so last year what we did was, correct me if I'm wrong on the order. First was farmer's carry.
Yep.
Second was a log press, a rising bar log press, where we went up in 20-pound increments each attempt. Third event was. What was third? Was it the deadlift?
I think the
tire flip for time.
Fourth was the car
deadlift, and fifth was Atlas Stone Series, five stones. So this year, one that I'd like to change up is the farmer's carry, because our farmer's carry implements are very basic looking. I mean, it's still probably fun to watch, but it just looks like a few plates hanging on the end of a bar, and we want to make that into a version of a timber frame, and hopefully have two frames, so that we can have some head-to-head competition.
And now we have a show on our hands, don't we?
Right, for sure. And because we have two people going at once, it's faster.
Yep.
It's faster.
That event alone will take half the time, and every single heat is twice as exciting because there's something going on.
For
sure.
There's an actual race happening.
Yeah.
Car deadlift, I think, is awesome, and it can't go away because there's just something about it.
It's just too cool.
Yeah. People love seeing that, and it gets,
if we didn't do the car deadlift, we'd have to rig up some sort of like car yoke walk carry, and from what I saw of some of the World's Strongest Man stuff when they did when they did
You
like
can't
a
get
car
it light
yoke.
enough.
Like they're using what looks to be the smallest car that I've ever imagined, and they've taken every single thing out of it. And this still is like Pujanowski is like eyeballs are popping out of his head. He's dropping it every 2 steps. I'm like, well, I don't have a smaller car.
How do we scale it?
Do we make cars out of styrofoam?
It could be the Tanner scooter.
Tanner's moped carry.
49cc.
49cc yoke carry.
Yeah. But so we're looking at replace the farmer's carry with a frame carry that's going to be done in heats of 2.
Yep.
Because it's going to be a sweet badass race.
Yep. And we went max distance on the farmer's carry last year, and I think this will be more a set distance for time.
Yeah.
So it'll be a faster paced event. Then, like I said, keep the car deadlift because it looks cool, and you have to have a deadlift, some sort of a deadlift variation in a strongman competition, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The log. You also have to have an overhead press event. So I don't know the logistics of this yet, but what I would like to do is get a second log and treat it how the Arnold Strongman treats their final event, the log, where we'll have a lighter log and a heavier log.
I thought you meant we're going to have the words Austrian oak carved into a piece of wood.
We'll call it like Aberdonian oak.
The Brown County wood.
Yeah. But so you get your choice of attempting the heavy log or the light log. There's just a time limit, 45 seconds or a minute or whatever it is. And any reps on the heavy log, or 1 rep on the heavy log, is worth more than any amount of reps on the light log. And you can switch back and forth within the event. You could start with the heavy log and
be like,
fail.
oh, shit.
But
Drop
then
down.
that sucks, obviously, because someone else that maybe is your equal, if they chose to immediately go to the light log, they
could have 25 reps in. Or...
Yeah. So that would be the adjustment of that event. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I like it.
I like what I think's really cool about that is the strategy element
Yeah,
of
the strategy, yes. That's
and especially as long as it's articulated pretty clearly to the crowd how that works. As opposed to at the Arnold when Mark Henry is pointing at the log.
They didn't know which one was the heavy one.
Which one was which, and we're like, I don't know. I'm assuming it's just the bigger one. But like
and I know enough to know the one that says the Austrian oak is the.
Or the fact that they're starting with a smaller one and there's not a smaller one, and then he says he wants the smaller one,
but
but
the smaller one. Like, that's what's happening right now, Mark.
2 up there, and he's already using the small guy.
But I definitely like that. And also, again, that will, even though our log press with the rising weight last year went pretty damn fast.
Yeah, it did.
But like,
very fast.
but like this, I think, I mean, everyone probably still took 20 or 30 seconds per attempt last time. So this will probably cut that event time in half as well.
Yep, for sure.
And after that, we're thinking, so where are we at? We're at the frame carry, the car deadlift, the log press.
And then another event would be, so last year we did the tire flip. I like the tire flip from a spectator point of view. I think it does look good, but I think it would be cool to have more change. So if I'm able to secure a yoke by then, I think a yoke event would be cool, or even maybe some combination of yoke and tire flip.
Yeah.
Or just yoke, or if no yoke ever happens, tire flip would be a backup plan. But I just like to be a little.
To add to the spectacle, we could take a page out of Bud Jeffrey's book and we'll light it on fire.
Flaming yoke.
Yeah.
The flaming yoke.
Or let's set the tire on fire.
And then you have
so
to
it's
get
like
your
black,
face up in.
black smoke.
Yeah, so the tire fire event.
Catch us at the Brown County Fair burning tires in August.
So that'll be that's the one that we're not quite sure on. Basically, because we don't at this point we don't have a second log. We'll have to get that, and we don't have a yoke yet either. So we kind of will need to get both of those things, and it's going to depend on what we do and don't have at that time. But
Last event we did Atlas Stone Series last year. Like to do something different with that, just to be different, and also because we have really cool sandbags with our logo on them. So it would be cool to use those in some sort of load event or carry and load. And we also have a keg. We could incorporate that. We could still incorporate a stone somehow. I don't know for sure what to do with that, but I think we could do something cool. But like with the cool sandbags we have with the Massenomics logo on it, I'd almost hate to not have one of those in the
yeah.
competition somehow.
And I think, yeah, it's also I really like the idea of with a strongman competition just having a stone in general.
Yeah, there could still
I just
that
think
could
that
still be a
like
part
I think
of it.
that like that looks like what you like if you were to be taking snapshots of what that event happened that day. Those things are the coolest. Really, if we look at the pictures we got from last year, the car deadlift with the crowd, everybody around is awesome. And then you and Ryan and your pictures of
Stone.
Going for the big
going for that
stones,
300-pound stone is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
I think we can incorporate stones, but make it different.
yeah,
You know, there's a way.
Yep, for sure.
And we
so
can make
we're
up
looking
our own.
at we're looking at like a carry and load medley
Right,
at some
right.
point.
The other thing I thought, so we do have the frame carry. If one event is either the yoke or the tire or a combination of that, and the third one is a moving load, like it's pretty movement
Yeah.
oriented. Like we could replace it with one of those three with a squat or something too. You know, a strongman style squat. I would picture it with, we have our big deadlift tires.
Yeah.
Putting those on the bar and setting up boxes for everyone to hit. You know, just like they did at World's Strongest Man this year. If anyone,
We're thinking like 705 this year.
yeah, we do. I mean, we're kind of trying to stay on par with what they did.
Yeah.
But that's also the thing too. Most of the people that are watching our event at a local fair don't really know what weights
Can
No,
or
it
should
just
be.
doesn't
So we're
matter,
gonna
yeah.
whatever we're actually doing, I'm gonna advertise it as double twice that weight.
A 12,000-pound stone.
Like Jesus, I don't know. It seems heavy. It must be right.
It's like a,
They wouldn't
it's
put
like
it in there if it wasn't
like
true.
a large pickup.
So that's kind of the very preliminary
Yeah.
direction up for the events. Make them faster. Everything look as cool as possible.
Yeah.
Keep the MC moving the events right along,
Yep.
which is also key.
And see, all that we're talking about went
well
well
last
year,
Yeah.
but it's just like, let's do it
Just
even
can
better.
be better, yeah.
Something you brought up, Tommy, was maybe some way for the fans to see the scoring better post each event, like how they scored that event or where the total scoring is at that point. I don't know exactly what the best way to do that is yet, but
We were thinking like a card girl
like
walking
or
around.
Shane,
Or big Shane could
Yeah, Shane can finally tie that
He can
posing
pose it down.
routine into a scoring sheet. Yeah.
that would make it a better experience, though.
I think anything that Big Shane is doing would make it a better experience.
That would really make it a better experience.
Or just between like events setting up, he can come out and recite some of his favorite lines from Pumping Iron.
Could we 3D print Big Shane as our trophies? Big Shane posing.
Flexing. It'll be him flexing in front of the Arnold statue.
Exactly. We'll have to have programs again. That's another
Yep.
cool thing that we do. Every competitor has to be pre-registered for our event, so we have their name, age, height, weight. We can put all that information on a program, a
Our
one-card program.
nicknames, all
Yeah.
three of us are the Beast.
Everyone's the beast.
Maybe this year we can add in catchphrases that we like to use.
There we
too,
go.
you know?
Or yeah, for sure. But from a spectator, that a lot of people really liked
And
that.
now that we kind of know how many people might be there, we can plan accordingly and get the
Right.
and know that
10 times
200
as many.
programs is
yeah,
nowhere
we
near enough.
probably are going to need at least 500 programs.
Yeah, I would think that's a very safe bet, or for a minimum requirement.
And then there'll be an event T-shirt again for sure, and that's another cool thing is all the competitors have their name on the back of their shirt. And the differences in our event versus another one, you know, some other types of events that are affiliated with like federations and that sort of thing, they have to be a certain way.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a knock on them, but that's
They're
just
kinda
not
just-
what we're doing.
Yeah, they're just tethered
Yeah.
to a bunch of rules.
Right, and
Yeah.
we're not. We're doing our own thing. We just want to make it look as cool as possible. So why do we have to do that stuff just because that's what people do?
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to do it that way, which that's cool.
And still this year, we're planning on keeping it semi-local from a competitor standpoint. I do
Yep.
think that in the future, we may kind of break it off and invite some of the big bad sons of bitches that are listening right now.
I picture it as we can have two events at that point in time. If we continue to grow this, we'll have the I don't know, we could call it the local, or we'd have a name for that, the competition, and then we would have the invite or
Yeah.
the expert, or you know,
Yeah.
where we get regional guys that are
And Hathor
legitimate.
and Brian Shaw.
Regional and national level competitors.
Like, yeah, that's what I was figuring. It wouldn't be a stretch for us to pull in Brian, Eddie Hall, Hathor Bjornsson, Zadruna Savickas.
Yeah.
Just,
why not?
Well,
some of the decent guys from there.
Here's what I think. Since we have friends of Massenomics in...
Well,
Bill,
Hathor's
we could
a
bring
friend of
Hathor in,
He's already friend of the podcast.
I feel like Bill Kazmaier could come out of retirement.
Friend of the podcast.
Or just announce
He's
the
a big
thing,
fan of all of the things that we were doing,
Yeah.
according to our interview with him. And Jerry Pritchett,
Friend of the podcast.
friend of the podcast. So, do we just announce them right now that they're going to be there? Or
Yeah, for the invite.
guest judge,
Yeah.
Hathor Bjornsson.
Yeah. I don't know why not.
So, but yeah, I do think we could have, next year we can roll like a more of an invitational.
Yeah. Well, because I know that there's
But we just can't handle, and it would be something that similar to the Arnold in that, in almost every way, basically. But but similar to the Arnold in that the only way the Arnold wouldn't work if there was 40 competitors.
right.
No.
And that's another thing. For this event again, I anticipate there will be more interest than we have spots available, because I'm not going to make it much over 10, because then we lose that ability to move along quickly.
We have a big scary spider. Tanner, will you kill it?
No.
Tanner, will you kill
No, I
it?
don't want to touch that
The
thing.
way that thing
Fletch,
That's a spider that can kill you.
is it? Do you think that's a spider that can kill you?
It's a spider I wouldn't want on me.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal, though.
Will you grab it and put it in your beard?
Tyler,
fucking way.
eat it.
That is huge. Is
So
it just
for-
long?
Can you get that? Do you think?
We
See
do
if you
have
can.
we
Yeah,
have
see if you can
we
get
have
on there.
quite the spider dropping from the ceiling right
You gotta
now.
you'll have to get real close, Tanner.
Yeah, it's just making its way all the way down to the floor.
I mean, our lives were just in jeopardy.
step on it once it.
But I'm just not touching it with my
It's dropped
hands.
all the way from the ceiling. It is now about a foot from the floor. We should have touchdown any second now.
I lost it now.
Basically,
it's 6 inches off the ground.
my house is
It's
infested with
almost
bugs.
just off the corner of the couch. Right, it's touching the ground. 3, 2, 1. Oh, and it's dead.
And now I have to move.
That's a spider. Once you see it, there's no living in your house again.
I'll lay in bed and be like, are there more? Are they on
Is there
me?
one doing that like right above my face right now?
Are they on me right now? But no, so I was pretty stoked as soon as we got that call this week. I was like, oh, so I should go play with some Atlas Stones now. Like it was we hadn't really had
Gives
any,
you a reason to do it.
none of us have had anything
Now
to
I
train
have a reason
for.
to eat a lot of food again and to just.
I have a reason to live finally. I've been borderlining.
I can quit this summer body thing. I mean, it's June already. I might as well call it quits. Time to put the weight back on.
That's exactly what I thought. Actually, I was like, well, time to cash out this summer bod.
It was a good thing we had going.
I've had
But
the
it
summer
must have-
bod for years, and it's finally time to get rid
I
of
was
it.
I was as lean as I was gonna get.
What if just someone showed up? They went through like this radical Big Z transformation where they just bulked 40 pounds
Yeah.
for this thing out of nowhere.
I think
Tyler, you need to be that guy. 40 pounds more than right now.
I believe that I could do it, actually. But I believe that I would be so sick. I also believe that our second most capable person of doing that would be Ryan.
Oh yeah. I don't think
Ryan could hit 300 pounds
Well,
just if he just went after it pretty hard.
Yeah,
And I don't think that it would be a gross 300 pounds, but I think he could hit it. And
he could.
being 6'5" or whatever he is a
Yeah.
a
300 on 6'5" is a lot better than like 300 on 5'9".
Yeah.
or under 6 foot.
right.
If you have to justify 300.
But yeah, I mean, it would be pointless to try to lose any weight between now and then.
That's right. They don't. I mean, let me ask you guys this: have either of you ever gone to the circus to see the ponies?
No.
No. You go to see the elephants, and on top of that, they do not have weight classes in the jungle.
That's correct.
Therefore, we will not have weight classes at our competition.
That is actually a thing that I don't believe that we would ever do, right? Let's pretend that this thing grows into a big thing, and we end up having like an invite thing. I don't believe that I would ever get on board with strongman competition having weight classes.
Yeah,
If I'm going to put it on,
yeah.
it just makes it twice as much stuff.
Right, or
You're
3 times as much.
Yeah, it's
or-
like you're either.
Well, that just goes against all the things we're talking about.
Yeah.
then we can't do that. We can't make it fast. We can't do that.
Exactly.
You know,
and whatever, like, it sucks for that, but like, it's just is what it is. Like, if you are smaller, if you weigh 180 pounds and like you're strong for 180 pounds, you're still not as strong as someone who's 350 pounds who is stronger than you. And it is a strong man competition, not a strong man competing separately from strong boys. Like, it's a strong man competition.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but there's not weight classes in the jungle.
and
Welcome to the jungle.
and they don't call it a weak man competition.
There's about 3 or 4 lines about strongman competition.
What you can just say to every argument.
It's not a strong boy
Well, and you're
competition either.
But I weigh 160 pounds. Like, if I'm saying that to someone, they're like, I get it, but...
But, so that's going to be... Tanner's got a reason to live.
Yeah.
I think you gave a lot of people a reason to live.
At least about 10 guys. Well, a couple of them that I asked if they wanted to do it again, they almost got offended. Like, had we not done it, like it was going to be a big,
really?
big problem. You know, like Jake was like, "Yeah, I've been training this last year for this. Of course, I'm doing it.
Coming for that shot.
I'm actually kind of a little bit concerned about Jake.
Yeah,
I think
he's gonna do well
because he was really good last year.
at like
really
210.
good. Yeah.
And now he weighs like 240.
I would assume by the time this thing rolls around, he's got to be at least 240.
Speaking of someone that could be 300 pounds, like he's not getting smaller, so he might be. He takes it serious.
He could show up at 3 Hondo.
Yeah.
He's still eating at college.
He's got that. He's got that. Does he have some gym in his house now or something?
Yeah, he's got a little. He's home for the summer.
Oh,
you know,
is
he's
he?
a
Okay,
college
okay.
student, and he got his family into lifting.
Okay.
So it's like they built a gym.
nice.
That's pretty. I just saw this. I'm like,
Yeah.
are home gyms popping up
Yeah,
now?
yeah. And he said he wants to buy a Massenomics banner to go behind the deadlift platform because you can't deadlift without.
Guaranteed PRs.
Yeah,
Mostly.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'd say.
But yeah, so Big Jake will be one to watch because, he's gotten so fucking strong too.
When we get really close to the competition, you know, where this will come out like the time of the competition, we'll go through and do a
rundown
competitor.
of everybody again.
We did like we did last year. I think that's kind of fun. Even if you're listening out there and have, you know, you won't be there.
This year we'll also cut together. We'll grab everybody's Instagram handles too. So when we're dropping names, you'll be able to rifle.
And this episode should come out towards the end of June.
Yep.
The show is typically
August 19th.
August
will
19th.
be the date.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, we're still going to be
We got some time.
6-7 weeks out at that point, but
Yeah. Well, that's majestic.
So we're all excited about that now.
I also saw there was a big strongman competition in Texas this week. Did you see that?
Was that where Robert Oberst won?
Yeah, it
And,
was the-
Martin Lisas and
What was it? The IFC International. I don't know what it was called.
yeah.
I don't know anything about it. All I know is I think it wasn't it was a first one, right?
Yeah, I honestly don't know much about it either, but there were some big time guys there competing. But I think Robert Oberst won,
Yep.
as far as what I know.
Yep. And oh, by the way, okay, here's a funny story. So we were at the SBD booth interviewing Half Thor, and there was a big, huge guy with
the
a mohawk there,
yeah.
right? And so I didn't know who he was, but
yeah.
he just looked like he was a big, huge. I was like, is that a guy?
Yeah, like, should we be interviewing
Do
him?
I need to know who that guy
Yeah.
is? Because he is huge.
Yeah.
But he just mean mugged us the whole
Yeah.
time while we were
Oh,
interviewing.
very
Half Thor,
scary. Very scary.
Amongst many other people that were mean mugging us while we were
so
there.
do we know who he is now?
Yeah. So
Oh,
he got. What did he get in that whole thing? Second in the whole competition?
I'm not sure. What is his name?
I'm gonna find it right now.
We're all in agreement that he scared all of us.
Oh yeah, because he just like so no.
I don't know if we ever discussed him before,
I don't
but we
think
all
we
know
have.
exactly who.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah.
Well, because I couldn't figure out who I think we even talked about like who is that guy?
Yeah.
Just because he was so big, like
Yeah.
he has to be. He's not like a fucking janitor. He's not like sweeping the floors back there.
I just assumed he was like a handler or like just a guy
Mm-hmm.
for.
But that's the dude.
that
But
is
anyway,
him.
his name is Justin Fisher, and he is a pro strongman competitor, a professional. 2016 USS Nationals champ, 8th at Arnold Classics in Europe last year. He's sponsored by SBD. He got second in that whole thing. So
That's pretty legit, though.
yeah, to get second to Robert Oberst and Robert Oberst has gotten fucking lean.
That's what I wondered. I thought he
Man,
looked
did
way.
he get lean.
Yeah,
Yeah, he.
I thought so too.
But anyway, so props to Justin, who we're just gonna say that you're a friend of the podcast in spite of maybe the way
Like,
that you look.
because we don't want you to hurt us. Like, maybe if we befriend you, you can't be mean to us.
But I don't think that he was certainly mean to us, but definitely was like, "What in the fuck are you people doing here?"
Yeah.
But yeah, big fucking strong dude. I'm guessing he's about 6'6", 6'7". He was a big bastard.
I don't remember.
He's up there.
But
Yeah, it depends on if you count the mohawk.
but strong as shit apparently. But this competition, I don't have all the details on it. To be honest with you, International Strongman Show.
Their car deadlift was a double car.
Really?
So it was a special frame that wide out,
shit.
Yeah.
and there was 2 cars behind him.
Oh, that's
I can't.
Side by side.
I won't be able to pull this up down here due to my ghetto Wi-Fi. But that's fucking crazy. And dude is just like repping it out.
Yeah, and I wish if you did have it up, the sound. He gets very mad because they're not telling him the reps.
Is that
He
him or just on their thing?
It's him, right? It's Adam Dirks.
Okay.
Is that guy on the right side of the screen right there? It might not be in that video. Yeah.
It must not have got to
It must have. He did so many. It took so long. But he said he stopped and he does a head nod to the judge, like you can tell he's asking like, how many do I have? How many have I done? And they apparently don't respond to him. And he goes, how many fucking reps have I done? Like he stopped,
really?
like scary. Yeah. Like you want to run away if you're the judge at that point in time.
This is the car yoke that they did, and I don't know. Well, I don't know if this will show up, but like, this is the fucking smallest car that you could possibly come across, right? Like for sure, the smallest car that you could find.
Oh yeah.
And so there's no way that we are of a level to be doing anything like that, which sucks because it looks really fucking cool. Really cool. But no, it looked like they put on a fucking pretty world-class event. Mm-hmm. San Antone. So International Strongman Federation, is that like a new thing? Like, is like that, because I know this competition was like number 1. It was like
I don't know.
1.
I'm not sure. Could we talk at all about?
No,
maybe we don't
we're
want
done.
to.
We're
No,
not.
yeah, we've
we're gonna
covered.
shut down.
Let's talk about some.
Let's go with uncomfortable silence.
Yeah.
A little while longer.
Just have a moment of silence. Hey, you know what I was thinking about the other day, you guys?
Speaking of cutting off Tanner, hang on to that because we are
Tanner,
starting.
were you talking about something? Okay, well,
No, you go ahead. I got
okay.
a few things. I just gotta remember everything here.
if Dwayne The Rock Johnson is ever thinking of needs another thing
Friend
to
of the
involve himself
podcast,
in.
Dwayne The Rock.
Maybe I'm crazy in thinking this, but could you guys see? I mean, the Arnold is huge. If like there was The Rock event and it was like the same thing. I
Yeah.
could just see that being awesome.
Actually,
he's
you know
just
that
because
he's-
reaching that status.
he
though,
is.
too.
you know
He's
that
absolutely.
so the production company that he owns, I don't remember what it's
Like
called.
$7, I think.
Yep. They now own the rights to the Olympia.
Oh,
So
yeah.
basically, The Rock, his production
So
company.
he is. He is.
Okay, he is
So
getting
he's
in
already
there.
getting
He's one
there.
step ahead of you. That's why he's the Rock.
That is.
And it certainly could be at some point of that scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you're building from a platform of the Olympia, you could The Rock it all up and get way more average, normal people in as well,
Well,
as
that's
your
the
meathead
thing. Like, you
crowd.
draw in so many. Like,
Because everyone's like, oh, The
well, pretty
Rock.
soon here, give it. I mean, it might be 10 to 20 years, but at that 20 years, Arnold is gonna be like a shadow of who he used
Or
to
dead.
be. Like, or dead. Yeah.
But I mean, he'll probably be dead within 20
And then
years.
it's like
He's like 70.
he just looks so young presenting.
Is that a threat, Tanner?
I swear to God, within 20 years from now.
20 years from this day,
There's gonna be kids at
Arnold
some point
will not be 104.
that Arnold is not going to be the thing that he was to a lot of people.
Right.
And The Rock could be that thing. I mean, if we went to an event like The Rock passed through, it'd be like, oh, it's The Rock. And
Right.
we'd be jacked for it.
I think if you're much younger than us, even, Arnold's like.
Kind of
Oh,
past.
I will
Yeah,
admit, even
like,
large
wasn't he
bodies
the
of
com-
Arnold's work gets lost on me. Like,
Yeah.
there's huge gaps of his
Yeah.
that I don't.
Right.
All you really need is Pumping Iron, Terminator, and Predator.
Yeah.
I really like Terminator.
Total Recall's pretty
What
good.
about Kindergarten
Recall's pretty
Cop?
Twins.
Jingle All the Way.
See,
I'm more of
what's Arnold's best movie?
Junior.
I didn't see that one.
You didn't see that one? No. Do you know the premise of that one? Arnold
is that him and Danny
isn't him and
DeVito?
also Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
So it's
I just remember
it's
the
twins.
I like to think of it as the sequel to Twins.
Twins is both of them too?
It is.
Yeah.
That's what I'm. They're the
No,
twins.
is
aren't
Danny
they?
DeVito with him in
Or is
Junior?
Isn't there one? Is that where Arnold gets pregnant?
Junior's the one where Arnold gets
Yeah.
pregnant. Arnold is
Has
a
a pregnant
doctor.
belly.
Is a doctor and knocks himself up basically
like
through
scientific
science.
Yeah.
And
He's experimenting on his own.
it's science that doesn't make any sense.
Where
and
did
they
the
don't-
baby come out of? I honestly don't remember that.
I don't
If they might not
remember
have
where.
touched
I don't
on it.
remember where it all went. All I know is they didn't fucking justify any of it.
it's
Though.
bro
They were just
science.
like, they were like, he scienced the thing into his belly, and there it is. And it's like, but there's kind of a structure with which that thing has to be getting fed and kept alive, and I don't
But
think
they're
that's
just
how it
more
works.
like they just wanted to get to the part in the movie where he
he had
has
a
the
belly.
big belly, and then
Yeah.
like that's most of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm sensitive.
It's like blowing my mind that this has never crossed that path before.
I wouldn't so much maybe recommend watching the movie as much as there is a podcast called How Did This Get Made, where they make fun of movies that
and
really
it's just
suck.
that movie every single episode.
No, but they did an episode on Junior, and that's enough. It's hilarious, but that's probably all you really need to see. But yeah, that was. But no, I do believe that The Rock, that Olympia move is kind of a big,
for
deal.
sure.
The other thing is, do you remember at the Arnold too? Like like Phil Heath wasn't he there, but didn't he didn't
just
compete.
there at
Like
a
none of those
booth,
guys were
yeah.
like be doing a booth sponsorship thing. But doesn't he now have some of his own like bodybuilding competitions and
I
shows?
suppose, yeah.
I suppose you suppose like all of these guys now are just trying to like follow
they got to
the
figure out a
Arnold
way to
model.
make money
Yeah.
too.
Because if you're Phil Heath, you're not going to be Phil Heath, most
Yeah,
jackedest dude on the planet forever.
I think there's a few of those guys that even on their resume, this just shows how bad we are at following bodybuilding. But I think a few of the guys had like won the Phil Heath Classic or
the Phil Heath Classic.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
I haven't won that yet.
Yeah,
still training.
But Tanner, what did you have for us here?
Well, but actually though, I was you didn't let me finish.
But hold on.
Okay, I'm done now. Yeah, you can go.
We did appear on. We got a shout out on Iron Radio podcast.
Oh yeah.
They're a well-established podcast. Dr. Lonnie Lowry.
I started checking that out when we put that article together, and Jesus Christ, they have so much information.
Yeah,
on it.
if you
It
want to
is
know the
insane.
science behind training, nutrition, like they've covered it.
It's that is like an audio encyclopedia.
Yeah, because
It's
when they brought us up, what was that, like episode 419 or something like that?
And now they're probably 4 beyond that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they fucking. Could you imagine having to put shit out that consistently for that long?
But they put out some pretty interesting, and that's one almost where you maybe pick and choose the ones you want to listen to.
Yeah, they're on episode 420.
Yeah,
so they put like 4 episodes out in the last
it's funny when
week
he
and
was
a half.
talking about us. He's like, and they seem pretty surprised that we've made it to 407 episodes. They were pretty
we're like
impressed with
still
that.
under 70.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
But how
and
many
like,
podcasts do you see that have even broken 100?
No, not very often.
And we're like under 70, and we're like all road weary and old and
Weathered and
like, ugh, fuck these guys again.
So that's something else. Can we talk about how the man's trying to keep us down?
Yeah, I think we should. So iTunes really jumped our shit this week and turned our podcast into if you look at the feed, what was it called again?
it turned us into art versus commerce.
Art versus Commerce.
So what's the timeline on this? Like right now it's Sunday.
This was discovered Saturday
I got
night.
it messaged to me was it Saturday night?
Well, a listener.
Yeah, a listener.
Oh, is that how it was discovered?
Yep.
Oh, see,
Yep.
I just thought we caught it and no one else knew about this.
Skylar, friend of the podcast, sent me a screenshot like, dude, your podcast is all fucked up. You should figure it out. And I was like, fuck. Tommy, you should figure this out.
Well, and I'll be the first to admit that I'm by no means a technical genius.
But he's the only thing we got.
You're the closest thing we got.
All I know is that iTunes is, well, as far as I know, iTunes is basically the gatekeeper for this stuff.
Yeah.
And
St.
when
Peter.
I went in to look at, when it was first brought to my attention and I looked up our feed in Apple Podcasts or whatever they call
That's
the app
another
now.
thing. Are we supposed? we always say iTunes.
I think
Everyone else
technically
now
it's-
says Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, it's Apple Podcasts
really?
now.
That's
yeah,
probably
they-
why we haven't been getting enough reviews, because we tell everyone you got to go to iTunes and leave us a
Well,
review.
which technically on your computer you can still find us through iTunes.
Okay, but on,
But
your
yeah,
phone,
on your phone-
you need to go to Apple Podcasts
Yeah.
and give us a review.
Yeah, so that's probably why.
That's
people-
our bad.
Yeah, I guess.
So you
yeah.
guys have no excuse
But
left for this.
If that's been confusing you, then just buy like 7 or 8 shirts then instead.
But yeah, it was scary though, because when I got the message, when I looked it up on Apple Podcasts, our podcast had been taken over by Art versus Commerce, and
Our logo, but all
our
their
logo,
episodes.
but all of their feed, all of their everything, and
all
this-
their episodes, our episodes were gone.
all our episodes were gone. Everything that basically resembled Massenomics besides the logo was gone. And so then at this point, I had to figure out how to log back into the Apple podcast area, which in order to get in there to change it, I got 2 notifications from Apple that someone was accessing the account, and I had to sign a verification code. So how that got changed is like blowing my mind. I still don't know how. And because Apple is just can be less than ideal with
The
their
Death
customer
Star.
service. Yeah, exactly. It's because they're kind of the evil empire. We just have to send in a message and patiently wait. But I took matters into my own hands. I think we have a fix. I mean, I think it's it's sorting itself out. But
Yeah.
but if any of the technical wizards out there can explain how an RSS,
Yeah, maybe there is someone out
yeah,
there.
if someone really knows how just an RSS feed address can just get changed automatically in the back end of Apple.
And definitely totally got changed to something that is not going to be big on any of our listeners.
No,
Right.
no.
So we hope at this point in time that it's been if it hasn't been sorted out, you're not listening to this.
Yeah,
certainly are
Yeah,
not.
yeah. This is like going away. And this is all for nothing. But ideally, yeah, you will be hearing this in a week or two, and we have everything fixed, and there's no worries anymore.
So
But
do you think it was premeditated on their part?
I'd be willing to bet that the Art versus Commerce podcast. Listen, guys, if you're listening,
They must be. They tried to
don't ever fucking pull that shit. again.
yeah,
we'll
or
show you art versus commerce.
Or if you got mixed up and you were trying to listen to Massenomics and you had to be exposed to whatever it is they talk about, send them a little message
yeah.
and tell them that
the
Massenomics
F?
sent you.
Yeah.
And that you best get the fuck up off their feed.
Get off our RSS subscriber
But
feed.
maybe there's a deeper investigation that needs to happen. Maybe there's like an inside agent here that is sabotaging us.
Oh,
Do you think Sean's works for Art versus Commerce?
do you think Sean has ever listened to the podcast?
That's a good question. Have we asked him that? Does he ever listen to the podcast?
I don't think he listens to many podcasts.
Does he listen to the ones he's on?
I can't remember what he said about that, but a funny thing about that too, I had already suggested this Iron Radio podcast to him because I knew it would be up his alley.
Yeah.
And I know he never listened to it.
Yeah.
And then when I said, hey, they gave us a shout out in there, you guys should check it out. So he checked it out then, and he's like, oh, hey, that Dr. Lonnie Lowry, I've really liked him. I've been following him for years. And I was like, I guess that's maybe why I said you might like this podcast.
Or that you should follow him in other ways instead of just like reading an article that he
Teenaging.
writes 3 times a year.
Yeah.
God damn it, Sean's. I think Sean's has like the 2006 version of the internet. Where like I just read articles.
It's like on the verge of being really awesome, but just hasn't quit.
We're just kidding, Sean's, but we know you're not listening. Maybe Sean's girlfriend is listening though, and she could pass this along to him. But yeah, so that really stirred us up this weekend. Tommy lost a lot of sleep over it.
You know, it actually conflicted with me doing some Massenomics work yesterday. We had a pretty top-notch photo shoot with
yeah,
the
we
guys. And
Very good photo
you'll see
shoot.
those. Well, at this point,
You've seen them.
you've seen these photos, and
We should
you know
talk
what we're
about
talking
that,
about.
though.
But we did a little promotion for the Weekend Warrior line of apparel, and
Which has expanded.
which has
officially.
expanded. Yep. So at this point, I'm assuming the hats have already sold out, but you can either pre-order them again or they're restocked again.
So now we've got
all
the weekend.
bullshitting aside, I bet they are sold out.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like,
By the time you're hearing this, probably.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we just have more by then.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we have the Weekend Warrior shirt. We have the hat in the Lieutenant Dan style, the camo trucker style, and then we have it in the
Flex Fit.
Flex Fit blue,
Navy blue.
and Flex Fit black.
Yep.
And they all look pretty sharp.
They look super cool.
We also have the Weekend Warrior wingtip dress shoe that we'll be coming out with in a couple of weeks.
The can koozie, the growler to carry alcohol with you anywhere,
The Weekend Warrior pen.
a flask.
We're just
some-
this
some
seems to be working. We're
sunglasses.
just gonna put this on everything. And
Yeah, it
stuff,
seems to be. Yeah, the Weekend Warrior lighter.
We're gonna bleed this dry.
A phone case, some socks, everything.
Yeah.
It'll be on all of it.
Where instead of coming up with new ideas, we're just gonna put our one good idea
Yeah.
on fucking everything
Yeah.
forever.
Until it's not good anymore.
Yep.
But no, so we did a photo shoot, and actually, you guys were getting pictures, some kind of like lifestyle photos of the shirt and hat and all the stuff. And then Megan and I got there to lift, and you're like, "Hey, you want to like go get your lift shirt, your Weekend Warrior shirt, and like stone cold some beers?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Do I ever?"
I've been waiting for someone to ask me that exact question for so long.
It is Saturday morning.
So it was like fairly early, like 10ish, something like that.
Don't
when
call it a
was-
sober
Before
man
noon.
competition.
Yeah, if I wanted to be sober, I wouldn't have gotten drunk. But so we got done lifting, and then we got some beer, and we did some action shots of us doing like some violent cheersing,
Yeah.
where like beer flies everywhere. The part
Droplets of beer just
the part of that I
suspended
didn't
in air.
expect or didn't think about was that when you do that, now you have to drink that
Yeah.
beer, or it is just gonna explode.
None of us had thought about that until the first.
Oh,
and then it's
shit.
like, oh wait, all of our beers are running
Hey,
over.
like,
You're
right
not just
now-
gonna be like,
What? Oh,
like no,
gross.
no, like that is literally like the doctor tap. Dude, I don't know if doctors do that, but
Yeah, the
tapping your
reflex
knee.
test,
yeah.
But that is what that is. Like if that happens to your beer, you put it to your mouth
And you drink it.
Yeah, like there isn't like.
And
Actually,
the funniest
I
part
think
is
that's a really good test. Is you can go around
What
and
kind
if
of person are
if
you?
do that to somebody and they're like, "Oh my god, it's all foaming all over my hand," and they just hold it out there. You know that you will never ever be able to truly connect with that person.
And the funniest part of this is we're outside, so it's not like you have to be worried about the beer spilling on the ground. Like,
no.
oh no, it's gonna
Yeah,
make
but
a
it's like-
mess.
But yeah, we just hammered it. So then,
And it was funny because about 10 minutes in, Tyler's quote was, "I didn't really plan on chugging 6 beers this morning."
and it was because it was all like it was because so then we had to do
It was
one
out
of
of
us
necessity.
of us just like drinking it. We couldn't pretend.
Right.
So then I had to do the two where you like violently catch them and slam them together and then pour them on your face. But yeah, it was pretty heavy drinking morning. Had to go to the water park after that. So how's it going,
There's some
bud?
really cool pictures out of the whole thing though. That'll be
Yeah.
out there. You gotta check them out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have our giant mascot back in. You done, Fletch?
He's out.
All right.
I've got a few comments, etc., that I could
Let's
go,
word about
go
that
through
time.
quick.
While you're bringing those up, Tanner, I can put a little plug in here for Tyler. If anyone has any heating or air conditioner problems, just DM me. I'll give you Tyler's phone, and you can call him, and he'll troubleshoot you through anything. It's
Over the
great.
phone.
That's Tyler Stone at yahoo.com.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that guy, fuck that
Just
guy.
any questions you have, just let him know. He'll save you a lot of money by giving you expert advice over the phone
Yeah,
for
he has-
absolutely free.
All the time in the world to deal with your little problems.
Preferably you do it when he has free time so that he can just spend
Most
all
of
his
his
time doing
is
that.
free. Yeah, so
But on the bright side, my air conditioner is running like a top now.
no more water on the floor.
Do you know that he also gave me some?
Pointers?
Yeah.
Did he?
He also.
Well,
so,
at first I thought maybe he sabotaged me when he said, "Yeah, see that hose? Maybe pull that out." And the second I pulled that out, it was like someone turned a spigot on it. It was just gushing water. So I'm running through my house looking for a bucket. We got the water cleaned up though, and we're running good now.
Good.
It's nice.
Okay.
Crisis averted.
Brad Neitzel, a strong
Big Brad.
man.
Yep.
Minnesota, very strong. He said, "Who would win in a fight, a manly woman or a womanly man?"
Manly woman, all the way.
Hands
For
down.
sure.
Don't you think?
There's, when I read that, you think about it for a second, you're like, oh,
I had to think through what each one would look like in
and
my head.
I mean, not even like it would be a bloodbath.
yeah.
Yeah.
A manly woman would destroy. Like,
Frankly,
a manly
most
woman.
women, just most womanly women, would
Would-
beat the shit out of a womanly man
Yes.
in a
Yeah.
fight.
I mean,
I'm generalizing here for sure, but I think that's the nature of this question.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally a family.
I'm in full agreement.
Yeah.
Great question though. I like it.
Right.
Yeah.
Derek Gray from Sioux Falls. He has purchased a Massenomics banner before in case
Yep.
you want to be like Derek.
You should definitely be
You
like Derek.
definitely want to be like Derek. Yeah.
He said, "How much synthol is too much synthol?"
Well,
Is that like
I think any synthol is too much synthol.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
seen, obviously, Rich Piana is
gonna
like
say-
the big, like, just looks like he's full of synthol.
yeah, you go through that booth and you'll see some guys that just look like they're inflated.
Yes.
Like not
definitely
even
inflated.
like cut, like inflated.
There's a couple videos on YouTube I've seen where, like, you can look at, and it's like a bodybuilding competition, and you can actually see guys when they'll do the pose, and this one guy went up and went for, like, his double bicep, and fucking
yeah.
oil started pouring out of his
Really?
bicep and his shoulder,
Ugh.
and he had to, like, run out. Like, he had just, like, it's like he had just topped himself off out back, and, like, it was not, he was already full.
Yeah. Damn.
And but yeah, I think that shit's super gross.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Like, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, just
Like,
purely
are you going
aesthetic
to
in
a-
a bad way
The other
too.
thing
though.
is,
pretty far
are you
removed
going
from, like,
to
what we're
are you going to a
into.
doctor to do that?
Yeah.
Because
No.
so you're just like, this is oil. Put it in my bicepular region so I can have bigger biceps. Like, you're just winging it.
Yeah, it doesn't make
But
any
there's
sense.
totally not doctors
Wouldn't recommend
that
it.
do
It
that,
did,
right?
did not turn out good for me. And
Yeah, Tanner's dick looks super weird.
still tiny and now looks weird.
It's got a thumb now.
Okay. Katie, who was the one that taught us yoga,
Yes.
Okay.
we had her on episode 40 something of the podcast. If you want to,
I thought you were gonna know the exact number off
no,
the top
it's
of your head.
40 something.
That's incredible if you know
I'm
that.
guessing 48, but I don't remember for sure.
We check iTunes, but
Yeah,
we can't.
but they hate us. She wanted to know. She commented on one of our recent podcast episodes where we were talking about a friend of the podcast, Bud Jeffries, and she said, "Does Bud Jeffries do yoga? If not, I know a gal."
Well,
Does Bud Jeffries do yoga?
That's a good question.
I would say in some capacities he does yoga-ish things without a doubt.
I think so too. I think he could
Yeah.
probably step into a lot of yoga classes and because he trains that like
no doubt he is
isometric
better at
hold.
yoga than we are,
I wouldn't be surprised if he's
Yes.
better at yoga than a lot of people that do yoga
Yeah.
like regularly.
for sure.
Is there anybody who weighs like 330 that's better at yoga than Bud
I think
Jeffries?
he has
Probably
that
not
title.
many.
Certainly not me.
Well, and Bud, if no one's been following closely, he has a book in the works that.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler, do you remember
Bud's
the name?
got
of
a
it?
couple books. What was his other one? It was he had two that he announced, and like one of them caused a bunch of stir, and that was going to be. And here's the deal: we like legitimately, really, really like Bud Jeffries,
Oh yeah, I think it's awesome what he does.
and but Bud, let me find this here. I don't know how far back I got it. So he's doing 2 books out called Outlaw Strength, Forbidden, Forgotten, Secret, and Controversial Strength Training Methods. And then the second one is called Sex and the Modern Savage, Unlocking Incredible Primal Sex Potential. And if Bud writes a sex book, I'm fucking buying that sex book. For real, though. Like, the balls to just be like, you know what, I've done nothing but strength is this thing. And he's
Here's
like,
a
I'm
sex
going to
book.
also release this. I'm going to be like, what kind of tools are you working with, Bud? Like, I kind of want to know. Like, frankly, if anybody that I know is like writing a sex book, I'm gonna be like, really?
Yeah.
Like, really? Like, what is your life like? Where you're like, I need to tell the world.
Coming to Massenomics in a
so
month.
good
at it.
I need to tell the whole world how to bang.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta be that guy.
We need to maybe that's what we need to look into is getting a sex book ebook on the Massenomics website.
The
Just tips. Just small tips from everyone. Just the tips.
the smallest tips from everybody. But no. So actually, but then he had kind of posted a few things since then. Like people would be like, kind of like giving him shit for it. But Bud does not back down from any of that shit.
No.
He was like, "Who the fuck are you to tell me?"
Right.
He's like, "Nuh-uh." He's like, "Trust me." And then even more, I'm like, Jesus, bud, like, what kind of shit is going on in your
Kinda
bedroom?
do trust you, maybe.
I think I need to know.
Okay. Another comment here. This was on the wraps episode where you two both get your knee wrapped. I think that episode went over pretty well. I saw some commenting of people that thought that was interesting that haven't
Watching us cry.
right. This is from Jeremy Nicholas, and he said, another great episode. Interesting seeing how wraps are applied, and pretty funny seeing the look of true pain and concern on the faces of Tommy and Tyler. Started following after Tyler's post of a before and after picture showed up on my Instagram feed. Been listening in West Virginia since then. Keep up the good work.
Fucking A.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
No real question there. Just a good comment.
I do think, though, that the look of concern, like, concern is exactly, it's uncomfortable and it hurts.
Yeah.
But that feeling when you do have wraps on, it is, I'm like, concern is the exact word.
Yeah.
Like,
This isn't good.
I am very fucking concerned with what's happening right now, and I really need to know when this is getting taken off of me.
There is one other comment I wanted to read, but I have to remember how to get there. How do you get to the Facebook messages
Oh, that's
of the
weird.
page?
Yeah, I think I might be able to get us there.
There was someone that had read the bow tie article.
Oh, yeah.
That had a really, really positive, good review back for us, like an in-depth review. And I've meant before that I wanted to read that, but
I think I can get us there, but Facebook, the way they do it with messaging for pages is super weird.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I always access that through a computer. It's
like
Messages. So you got to go to open pages, and then it's under activity, and then messages. And that'll get you into the page. Then it changes to a different app.
So can you
It changes
fi-
to the
yeah.
Pages app.
So do you have it on yours? Do you
Yes, I
remember
do
what I'm
right
talking
here.
about?
Yep.
Okay.
First off, no, I'm not going to go to this one. Never mind. That was one that we do not want to talk about. So yeah, we have some from Jim Casemeyer. Does that sound right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Jim said, much thanks for your evaluation of the formal bow tie. He said, I bought a 2XL on the advice of Rogue. Fucking Rogue. Way to go.
Who knows more about it? Rogue
Yeah.
or us?
Yeah, obviously. Rogue
Rogue.
who sells it.
Or us?
Or us who are awesome. But he said, at my weight of 235-ish, got nothing out of it. No tension. Was going to go extra large until I read your article. Went large instead, and I love how snug it fits. Hoping for some aching shoulder relief. You saved me the trouble of another return or staying with something that wasn't an ideal fit, and I wouldn't likely have known otherwise. Much appreciated. Well,
We are changing lives.
happy
you
to
said,
help, Big
that's
Jim.
just what we do.
And if next time you question what we do this for,
Yep.
that's why.
It's all about you.
Yep.
We did it for that one guy.
Big Jim's a Marine. Thanks for your service. Happy to help your shoulders. I'm sure Donnie Thompson is happy to help your shoulders too. Donnie Thompson, friend of the podcast. Jim Casemeyer, both friends of the podcast. We got lots of friends of the podcast.
Not afraid to tell you
Just
about
a
it.
friendly bunch. But well, what else we got? We have some iTunes reviews.
Can't tell.
Can't even tell.
Due to
Well,
technical
I
difficulties.
wonder. Do you guys think that maybe that's why it got all fucked up? Is we
Too
got
many
so many
log jammed
That's
reviews.
That's what it
All right,
definitely
here's
had
what we
to
need to
be.
do, guys.
Yeah, log
we
jammed
need
with
you to
reviews.
leave us reviews on the Apple Podcast app.
Yeah.
Go to Apple Podcasts and leave us reviews. But maybe coordinate with like 6 or 7 of your friends so that when you're all going to leave reviews, stagger them about 10 minutes apart. Because Apple, they only have so much bandwidth. And
Massenomics is
so
taking
what
up
you
a
do
lot of
is
it.
get a hold of your 10 best friends, because you know you guys are all going to do it right now. And just make sure that you maybe get like a 15-minute window to do yours so that we don't mess anything up. Are you hunting anything down, Tommy?
I'm just seeing if anything.
Anything new on RedTube or?
My subscription
Speaking of
is updated.
synthol,
Well, at the very least, we show up. We show up now.
Okay.
That's just all I needed to check again.
so we still exist.
We still exist. We can still continue to haunt your ears once a week.
So, well, I think that'll have us about wrapped up for today. Let's give us the rundown. Do the iTunes thing, the Apple Podcast thing. Leave us
Apple
reviews.
Podcasts,
Super
yeah.
important. Facebook. Follow us, like us on Facebook. All the articles and stuff are all going to get run through there still. And then we will also be able to be found on the website. That's how you can support the podcast. Go to Massenomics.com. There you're going to find the store, all our articles. In the store, you're going to have sweet gear like this dude tank. like the sweet hat Tommy's rocking.
The classic.
The Weekend Warrior hat that Tanner's got on. You can't get that shirt. That's a limited edition.
Yeah.
But if you want to come to the fair in August, we will have new and updated ones.
Your hat that you have on, that is not in the store, but if you want a custom, say one of these one-off hats that you've seen before, if you really want that, email us and we can figure out a way to sell you that.
Yeah, or if
we
you have
have done that.
If you have like
certain team colors that
we've done it for Big Steve is a
Pittsburgh
Steelers fan, and I have a black and gold one that he saw and he was like, dude, I need it. Mm-hmm. And so we hooked Big Steve up with one.
So we can do that if you have a certain team.
Yeah,
color or
I think
something.
we can coordinate with colors similar to like the Red Sox, the Minnesota Twins theme colors. We've got Steelers,
Vikings,
Lakers,
Orioles.
Golden State. Yeah. So
really, most teams we can get you covered.
probably, or maybe not.
We don't know for sure.
I don't know, but ask us.
We will try for
and we
you.
might tell you yes. But yeah. So as far as that goes, though, that's the best way to support the podcast is to buy some shit. All the stuff is really cool and helps us keep this thing moving. We're also pretty
just three cool guys doing their thing,
just doing cool things without a banner yet.
Yeah. It's on order.
Yep.
I bet it looks awful.
With no banner.
Yeah, I bet. That's probably why iTunes was like,
Yeah,
duh.
they don't have
No
a banner
banner?
Cut it.
anymore.
Cut it. It's fucking cut rate shit. So, but that'll do it for us today, you guys. I'm Tyler. You can find me on Instagram at Tyler Effin Stone. That's Tyler EFFIN Stone. Tommy?
Tommy, you can find me at Tomahawk_D.
And Tanner?
Tanner, the Massenomics Instagram page at Massenomics. Bring the heat. Heat. Bring it.
What was yours again, Tommy?
Locked and loaded.
I'm going to go with, for this week, we're going with Get Swifty. All right, thanks a lot for listening, everybody.
You just heard the Massenomics podcast. With your ears, you're welcome. Check us out on Facebook, find us on Instagram at Massenomics, and make sure you visit Massenomics.com and buy some of that sweet Massenomics gear. From your friends at Massenomics Studio, home of the world's strongest podcast, stay strong.